the chicken into the air fryer and drizzle with some olive oil. Paint it in using one of these brushes if you've got one. And then set the air fryer to roast on the settings. I started roasting it at 190 degrees for 1 hour and 30 minutes. After half an hour, I turned it down to 170 degrees. I peeled and chopped some potatoes and parboiled them. Got some carrot, some swede. Finally chopped the carrot after peeling it. Took about half of the swede, peeled it, chopped it, mixed it in with the carrot. And then I took the water from the parboiled potatoes. They'd been boiling about 10 minutes. And I recycled that water to use to cook the carrot and swede. And set the parboiled potatoes to one side and wait for the steam to cool off them. Meanwhile, check the chicken. It was well cooked at this point. So I took it out of the air fryer using my tongs, just drained some of the juices out there before putting it onto the chopping board and leaving that to set. Meanwhile, I made some stuffing. This is just for one serving, so I took 2 tablespoons of the stuffing mix, boiled a quarter of a cup of water, poured that in and gave it a stir, and just let that set for a while. Meanwhile, I'm making enough Yorkshire pudding mix here for 2 servings, so I use 1 egg, give it a good whisk, then added some plain flour into it, about 1/3 of a cup, and stirred that in with the egg. Added about 1/4 of a glass of milk and gave it a really good mix. Added the rest of the milk. Meanwhile, I've got my silicone baking tray, which has little cup holders in it, and I drizzled some cooking oil into the bottom of each one and added the Yorkshire pudding mix to about half full because the Yorkshire puddings will rise. In the remaining 2 spaces, I put the stuffing mix in. Meanwhile, the potatoes, I drizzled some oil and salt and gave it a good stir. They'd cooled down quite a bit by this point. And add them into the air fryer on one side, and on the other side, whoops, the Yorkshire pudding and stuffing. I set it on roast I decided to cook it at 180 for 17 minutes. Meanwhile, I prepped some broccoli, put it on the hob, turn the hob up to 4, and I've turned off the carrots and swede whilst I make the gravy, just using gravy granules, chicken flavour. 2 spoons into the pan with some boiling water and gave the gravy a really good stir. I was stirring it on the hob for a good 5 minutes. Added quite a bit more water and kept on stirring. Meanwhile, I turn off the hobs for the veg. Check the potatoes, the Yorkshire puddings, all needs a bit longer, so I decided to roast it for 5 minutes on 205. And it's time to mash carrot and swede. Put a good amount of butter in and give it a good smash. pop the lid on. That's the broccoli done. And the potatoes, Yorkshire puddings and stuffing all looks very well cooked. Yorkshire puddings may be a little bit overdone there, but they are properly cooked all the way through, which is good. And there's stuffing for one serving. Here's the second plate. Added the veg onto it. The mashed carrot and swede. Now time to carve the chicken. Ideally you want to have some foil on it when it's resting. And the meat was really well cooked. I was really pleased with how quickly the air fryer cooked the chicken. And time for the gravy. Bon appetit!